Alright, what's going on, everyone? It has been a while since I've done a video. Lots been going on, a lot with work and whatnot, and what would be appropriate and not appropriate to put on YouTube. So right now I'm just going to be kind of scaling back and mainly covering just the general sector, right? So the overall market, the S&P 500, oil, some of the big stocks, Netflix, etc. Okay, so I'm actually going to exit out of this MACD. So S&P. And a lot of these names I'm going to be looking at for the first time in a long time. So just kind of taking a fresh approach. I know there's been a lot of crazy movement recently. Mexico trade war or trade tariff threat. Trump, anytime he tweets something, it moves the markets. It's nuts. So I literally can't check my phone at work for trading. So I am literally scaling into certain positions every 2 weeks or so. And, if I lost all that money, it really wouldn't even matter to me because it's such a little amount of money. And until I can day trade, I will be, pumping the brakes, as they say. Okay, S&P. Weekly time frame. Obviously, we remember this huge, crash, dump, burn in December. Bounced all the way back nicely. Made a new all-time high. Now, weekly time frame, okay, looks like we got support down here at 272.42. Okay, so we came very close to that. We're bouncing on the weekly. Looks like we had a nice past couple days, that's true. God, man, I remember this. Still can't believe we bounced back that much. But anyway, here we are again. So first thing I noticed, obviously RSI, we're almost getting to oversold. We hit 31. We had a nice bounce up. So if we're going to zoom in and look on the daily time frame, we need to get past 289.21. That's the last lower high on the daily time frame, right? So we have this nice daily downtrend. We have lower lows, these lower highs so far. But if we do break that 289 level, we could potentially start the daily uptrend again. So it's a bunch of possibilities. I've been watching pretty much only Dan from the Chart Guys, his videos on YouTube. And one thing he points out that I really like, he talks about oil. Now it's funny, I haven't looked at oil since I sold my leveraged position way too early. Here, I'm actually going to pull that up. UWT was the leveraged, and I thought I was buying in around here because we were daily oversold. It was extremely oversold, and then I saw this bullish divergence on the daily time frame. It's the same thing with oil, the regular ticker. I was saying it could very well go to 20. It went to nearly 25. Granted, great, overshot it. Could have undershot it. Could have gone to 15, but I can't remember where I sold, but it was for a very small profit. But here we are again. Oil apparently is coming down pretty strongly. Just looking. Okay, we've been here before. We've been in daily oversold conditions all the way in here. Where we saw much more downside. So it is not wise, in my opinion, to go all in just because you have a daily oversold condition. And it's a hard lesson to learn, but it's why having cash on hand is important and to scale into positions. I made a mistake recently where I went in way too heavy on a position. It was an oversold position on the hourly time frame, and that was just a huge mistake because I didn't cut my losses at the stop level, and I just went in way too heavy. So hard lesson learned. But here we are. We are daily oversold. So maybe we can get a nice daily bounce. But really, what I'd be looking at this point is this daily trend, right? So we're obviously in a daily downtrend. Yes, we are oversold, but maybe wait until we get a daily uptrend going. So once we start getting higher highs, higher lows, etc., you can maybe ride 5% of that move easily. Let's look at Facebook. I haven't looked at Facebook, guys, in weeks. Oh, wow, okay. I remember that big drop. Yep. I had a small position. I think I sold at like 172. made a Facebook trade. Daily oversold. That's cool. Every time we've hit daily oversold, we've seen a little pop. So if you're a day trader, these daily oversold conditions, you can definitely, if you watch the hourly or 15-minute time frames, you can capitalize on these when it touches daily oversold. Or if you're a short-term swing trader, we have literally seen bounces every time we hit daily oversold. We could have already seen the bounce that happened here, right? I think we probably do have a little more room to the upside, but what would make me nervous is we had a lot of bear volume on that dump, and the bull volume is a little drying up, so that could be the bounce. Just going to zoom in for 4-hour time frame was oversold. Yeah, it's just looking back at historical time frames, see when it's oversold on many different time frames, hourly, 4-hour, daily, and see what the bounces look like. We've been oversold over here, but, we have seen, drawn out downside. So that's why you got to be quick to take your profits on these bounces. But we have not been this, I'm just seeing this now, we haven't been this 4-hour oversold since we had that huge gap down dump, which is interesting. But what do we see after that? We saw a nice little bounce, but then we had months of downside. So we could get a nice little bounce, but be prepared. Just always have a game plan. I can't urge that enough. I really did learn the hard way recently. So you're never too smart to stop learning. Facebook, let's do an FLX. Check out Netflix. Man, it's just choppy. I do not like this. Okay, so zooming out helps me definitely. When the daily time frame's choppy or when the hourly time frame's choppy, it always helps to zoom out, right? So if the hourly's choppy, look at the 4-hour or the daily. If the daily's choppy, zoom out and look at the weekly. So here I kind of have a better picture of what's going on, and weekly time frame. We had this weekly, boom, weekly downtrend, then we came back up. Weekly resistance is right up here. I would call that a double top. That is almost a perfect double top. We hit it, shied away. Best case scenario, could be a cup and handle. It's not a very clear, it's kind of just a V-shaped recovery and then a bunch of sideways chop. But I would say that's a key level to break, that 385 area. And if we do break 385 or 386, the next resistance would be the all-time high. But I don't know. I wouldn't feel too confident right here, but that's just what I would see. And obviously the next support on the weekly time frame is all the way down here at 231. I'm actually just curious about Chipotle. I've been eating at Chipotle way too much recently. Oh. All right. So we got CMG weekly. Wow, I remember when all this happened back in 17. That had quite a nice comeback, but even on the weekly time frame, the all-time high is the next resistance. That's one heck of a comeback on Chipotle, but nothing too significant with Chipotle that I want to talk about. Apple. Ooh. Yes, weekly oversold. That was nice. Right back up. Weekly equilibrium. That's you got the high, the low, lower high. We're looking for a higher low compared to the low of the dump down here, right? So, we could have set that low. If that daily trend has changed, then that low is likely set. Ooh, daily oversold. That would have been a nice time to start scaling into a position, anticipating that weekly equilibrium. That actually doesn't look too bad. Stopped right at the daily middle Bollinger Band. Could act as resistance. We'll have to see if we can close above that tomorrow and keep on working our way up. Okay, let's see. Netflix, Facebook, Amazon. Meh, daily oversold. I've never really liked Amazon's chart. Yes, obviously it would have been nice to throw some cash back in 08, but yeah. Weekly time frame, I would say it's a similar situation, potential weekly equilibrium. So we have the all-time high, the low, we have a lower high. Now we need to form a higher low compared to the dump, right? So we have a lot of room to work with. That's a nice weekly candle forming. Yeah, remind me tomorrow. Nice weekly candle forming. I would say support. We got some support down here, and of course the low of the dump. If we do go past the low of the dump, that is not a good sign in my opinion. But buy low, sell high. We could still have some more downside. I really don't know when to buy. I would probably wait for this weekly equilibrium to finish playing out, to be honest. But anyway, guys, that's it. Just kind of wanted to touch base, say hey, to you guys who enjoyed my videos, and I certainly enjoy the feedback from some people. And it's I cannot invest in certain areas. It would be inappropriate for what I do. So I'm going to be covering mainly just the broad market, and yeah. So everyone have a good Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, almost the end of the week. Hang in there. If you're in red in some positions, I certainly feel you. I made such a mistake. I'm not going to go over my trade just because it's not necessary right now. But yeah, always have a game plan, always have a stop level, no matter what. There are companies, Enron, everyone knows Enron's story. People probably threw all of their life savings and then some in Enron. And you know what? Just because you believe in the company, it can go to crap. It happens all the time. So that didn't happen with my trade, but it's just important to always have stops. So one thing I did notice too on the S&P real quick, obviously I'm looking at RSI and weekly time frame. I'm not putting too much. I don't really look at weekly RSIs too much unless it's like weekly oversold, then that's pretty notable. But one thing that's interesting, and it kind of scares me because I'm pissed off because I'm still red in my trade. I would like the S&P just to rage on forward, but the weekly RSI just had a 88, 89, like 90 RSI on the weekly time frame, right? Then we have a lower peak right here, right? But we have new all-time highs. So that is bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. And hold on, yeah, we did have a new all-time high. Yeah, and we had a new all-time high with an even lower RSI peak. That is extremely bearish in my opinion. Yeah, probably gonna have to take a pretty big L in my position, but that's okay because I'll then have cash to deploy elsewhere when opportunities arise. So it's okay. You always have a way out, guys. Just always have a plan. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.